This is The Scoop for Friday.
I'm Josh Holton with the WMNF News headlines. The Trump administration has announced plans for oil drilling off the coasts of Florida and California. WMNF's Chris Young reports on the reaction from Florida's leaders and experts.
Democratic Congress member Kathy Castor joined various Democratic leaders to speak against the offshore drilling near Florida and California.
People are going to be angry. They're going to be mad. They will feel betrayed. This is not needed and it's not wanted, and we're going to fight it all the way.
In a letter, Republican Congress member Jimmy Patronis raised concerns over the area of the potential offshore drilling, calling it, quote, incompatible with military operations and recreational uses. J.P. Brooker, Ocean Conservancy's director of Florida Conservation, quickly condemned the plan, calling it a, quote, terrible step backwards.
Again and again, we've said that we don't want drilling off the coasts of Florida, and now is no different.
But in a statement, the American Petroleum Institute called the program a, quote, historic step for American energy leadership. Chris Young, WMNF News.
Yesterday, Tampa Bay's Students for a Democratic Society protested against the U.S. involvement with Venezuela. WMNF's Leah Burdick reports demonstrators say they're upset with the Trump administration.
Emotions were high as 12 demonstrators stood on the corners of 42nd Street and Fletcher Ave protesting the Trump administration. They were holding signs about lifting U.S. sanctions on Venezuela and having no war. Alia Negres is a member of Students for a Democratic Society.
The U.S. has no right to impose itself upon foreign affairs, especially at the cost of civilian lives. The fact is that the longer the U.S. occupies foreign waters, it becomes clearer that they aren't just there to stop drug trafficking.
She says the U.S. should be focusing on helping their own citizens.
The U.S. quotes that Venezuela poses a transnational threat to the safety of America, but what has this administration done to help the drug crisis at home? They've cut benefits for those on Medicare and Medicaid and making medications harder to obtain through price or through shortages.
While they were chanting, members of the organization were passing out flyers and some cars honked while passing by. For WMNF News, I'm Leah Burdick in Tampa.
With Florida continuing a record pace of executing 2 inmates a month, Richard Barry Randolph was put to death by lethal injection last night for the murder of a Putnam County convenience store manager in 1988. Randolph was pronounced dead at 6:12 p.m. at Florida State Prison, according to information posted on the Florida Department of Corrections website. Randolph was the 17th inmate executed this year in Florida, adding to a modern era record. The previous record for a year was 8 executions in 1984 and 2014. The modern era represents the time since the death penalty was reinstated in 1976 after a 1972 U.S. Supreme Court ruling halted it. Yesterday's execution came after the U.S. Supreme Court earlier in the day rejected a last-ditch effort by Randolph's attorneys to spare him. In a top priority of Republican Senate President Ben Albritton, the state Senate yesterday released a wide-ranging bill aimed at boosting such things as health care, education, transportation, and economic development in rural areas. Senator Corey Simon, a Tallahassee Republican who represents a heavily rural North Florida district, filed the bill, Senate Bill 250, for consideration during the 2026 legislative session, which will start in January. The Senate backed a similar measure dubbed the Rural Renaissance Bill during the 2025 session, but the package got broken up in the House and did not pass. The 138-page bill filed yesterday, for example, would provide $25 million for a new program aimed at helping physicians, physician assistants, and advanced practice registered nurses to set up practices in rural communities, according to a state Senate summary of the bill. As another healthcare example, the bill would increase Medicaid reimbursement payments for what are known as critical access hospitals in rural areas and would create a program to provide student loan payment assistance for educators in rural areas, among other programs. Warm and sunny today with highs in the mid-80s. Clear tonight with overnight lows in the lower 60s. Partly cloudy tomorrow with highs in the mid-80s. I'm Josh Holton with the WMNF News headlines.
This is The Scoop, recorded at WMNF Tampa.